Hi everyone, and this is Chrissy from In the Stars by Chrissy.com. And in this video, we're going to be talking about October 2019 astrology forecast. And in this video, we're going to be discussing and talking about the major themes and highlights for the month. How is this going to be creating an effect and impact to each and our lives, and how we should be navigating this energy as a whole, because I'm pretty sure that a lot of people can be quite shocked with the changes that is going to be happening for them. Okay, so the month of October has a new beginning theme to it, just like each and every month. But there is a difference because Pluto is involved. So this is like some form of power charging up and probably starting to circuit and all that, or it's giving us that form of green light to go forward with our life, to move forward, those kinds of things. So since Pluto also is all about transformation, rebirth, reconstruction, being reborn, this can also deal with scenarios that have already been existing or in the process of changing in our lives. It could be, for example, in our relationships, it could be undergoing some form of major change. It could be that, it could be in a work, it could be with how you present yourself, your how you want others to see you. Like for me, for example, I do have my Venus in the sign of Scorpio at the 20 plus degrees or so, those kinds of things. So that would mean that my second house is where I'm getting my support. It also rules my body, how I present myself to people, and those kinds of things. It's also rules the face and the beauty, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I also just noticed that I kind of look like scorpionic energy over here as I do this video. But anyways, whatever. So yeah, just know that Scorpio is going to create an important role. And the interesting part to this is that Mars is also going to be entering the sign of Libra, and Mars is the second ruler of Scorpio as well. So what is this all about? So there could be some form of reconstruction in terms of relationships. When Mars is in Libra, it cannot move by itself. It always has some form of trigger point. That is something that I've noticed because I do have my Mars in the sign of Libra as well. I'm not the type of person to initiate things towards someone else out of the blue. The most important thing for a Mars and Libra person is that you initiate to me first. Then let me think what I do about it. Or it could be a point wherein I want to protect something. There is something that I believe that is right, that is that has a form of integrity and truth to it. So if you are in a relationship situation wherein there is some form of unfairness going on right there, then this could be a time wherein that scenario that you have been dealing with for maybe a lot of years, all your life, those kinds of things, that area is going to be creating some form of shakeup. And it is a very much needed shakeup, okay? Because something has to change, and it has to change for the good, for the better, those kinds of things. So let's first start with the new moon in the sign of Libra. Now, very interesting fact is that the new moon is actually going to be happening at the 5th degree, as it makes a moon and the sun conjunction at the 5th degree. But at the same time, also in that new moon energy, it will also create a conjunction to Venus at one point in time. I did not really record the time. So I do apologize for that. But here in my notes, I mentioned here that the new moon is also going to create that conjunction with Venus in near the Spica zone. Spica is a fixed star that is dealing with a lot of blessing, good luck, love. It's all about miracles and spirituality as well. And this is why I believe that this October energy is not just about relationships. This is about relationships that transcends the spirit of time, I would say. So that would mean like a soulmate kind of relationship, twin flame kind of relationship, those kinds of energies in place. So, and because this new moon is also going to create that conjunction to Venus, in that degree, along with Spica, I really feel that this can bring something in terms of our love life and how we connect with people, how we treat relationship. What is Libra all about in our own chart? I feel that that is probably the most important factor that we need to consider. What is Libra in our chart? What house it is ruling? And then we can probably, create some form of separate predictions on how this is going to be for you. So, this energy is going to create an emphasis and focus to the Saturn and Venus energy. And because Pluto is going to be active all month long, this is going to be very strong and very intense. So, especially that hot spot of 20 to 22 degrees. So, if you have any planets right there, especially if it's in your house cusp or planets, like specific planets, like example, if you have Jupiter right there in your seventh house at the 22 degrees, then you can expect that you will also, this alignment and energies happening in the month of October is also going to make you feel things. It's also going to create some form of transformation and changes in that house that it is being placed on. So, this is going to be all about major breakthrough, major transformation in terms of our relationships. It could also be relationship reconstruction because Pluto is not all about just death, okay? So I know a lot of times we see Pluto as the end zone of certain things. Pluto always deals with, a deal breaker of some kind. And I really cannot deny that because that is what Pluto is all about. It challenges us because it is driving us to change things. There is something in our life that needs some form of change, and Pluto is asking us to change something. And also, I kind of feel that this has an energy of, something that is meant to happen, meant to be, that kind of energy as well. So this is all about a test on important relationships in our life, especially relationships that has been in our life for quite a long time. So maybe you have been hung up with a certain person or a certain relationship for many, many years. And maybe you're reflecting and thinking if you should still be in that relationship. Should you move forward with it or should you let it go and just move on? So I kind of feel that there is some form of emphasis and focus on that energy and situation involved. So remember that it's going to be a test of relationship. It will test your how you trust that relationship, your trust in that person. It's going to test your own faith, your loyalty, and how you understand the scenario and things. So if you get to overcome this phase, then you are sure and guaranteed that this relationship is going to flourish and grow much, much more stronger than before. And this will allow you to enter the new phase of things in your life. It's like a relationship entering a new chapter of things. So I'm saying a relationship, but it does not have to be, just about love. This could be a family affair, family relationship reconstruction. Maybe there is some form of intervention that needs to happen to every family member, those kinds of things. This can also be relationship with your coworkers, or people that you know in your everyday life, or yeah. And it could be especially very prominent for those that are concerned with a love partner, or people you date, or even with your friends. So basically, this is about relationships that we have with everyone, I guess, depending on what is really being impacted for you at this time. So, what is Capricorn? Since Pluto is going to be in Capricorn, we need to know what is Capricorn all about and how is this being related to the sign of Libra. So, like I mentioned earlier, this is relationship structure. Capricorn is like a very traditional sign. It's not really a sign of wanting to venture into new things. This is about safety. This is about foundation, the old stuff, those kinds of things. Capricorn is that area in time we're in. I want something to be sure and stable and safe. Those kinds of things. That is why, Capricorn are known as the hard worker of the zodiac. And also, it's like you can relate Capricorn as a building of some kind. Also, these are the signs we're in. Whenever I have a goal in mind, I'm not gonna go and change my mind about it. I'm not gonna go and do any shortcuts. I have to get to that goal. There's something that I really, really want. There's something I really, really want to grasp. Those kinds of things. And with K2, K2 is the south node, if you don't know. This is really giving us some form of reminder that there is something that in our relationships that we need to grasp on. There's something that we really, really want, but how much should we be holding on to what we want to happen in our relationships as a whole? Like they say, the tighter that you take your hold into whatever situation you're holding, the faster it breaks out. That kind of analogy to it. So it's quite similar in one way. If there is something that is unhealthy, that is negative in your relationship structure, things that are not working out, you can be quite assured that Pluto is going to create some form of changes right there because it is necessary. And the way how this is going, I feel that the changes has already manifested. It's just that we are now entering the time of conclusion to it. So the test has already happened. There were relationships that had already maybe, undergone some form of changes, undergone some form of deaths. It doesn't mean that it's a complete death of some kind, but it has entered that time of as if something died, or a relationship that entered that purgatory kind of area, and it's entering that time of needing to find resolution and conclusion to where you are going to go. Are you going to go to heaven, or are you going to go to hell? So yeah, this is just like an analogy. So I'm not saying this in a very literal sense, of course. So yeah, some things are really going to be changing in terms of how we deal with relationships. But do know that the positive side to this is that maybe you're gonna go get married. Maybe you're gonna go, making a family bond a lot more stronger than ever. And that is always a good thing. Because the South Node is involved, we can be assured that it has to happen. Whatever challenge or test that has happened in your life, it has a purpose. It did not happen for no reason at all. It has to happen. That's why it happened. That kind of a thing. So that is why I mentioned earlier. It's like it feels like so meant to be. And sometimes that is just what it is all about. It's all about divine intervention, divine timing as well. So, amidst of all these energies involved, Mercury immediately enters the sign of Scorpio as well during the time that Pluto goes direct. So, I really feel that Pluto is really influencing us this October because imagine Mercury entering the sign of Scorpio the moment that it goes direct. So you really cannot deny the involvement of Scorpio and Pluto energy happening here. It immediately makes a conversation to Neptune in Pisces, which is in retrograde. And this is giving an element of our own feelings and emotions really being felt by us to the core. So a lot of people might find this time very, very sensitive to things and emotional. And this can trigger, the difficult side of Scorpio as well. So what is Scorpio all about? They are all about the dark stuff. And I'm not saying this in a very negative way, but this is just what Scorpio is all about. They like mysteries, they like the occult, they like they like finding out things. They have that investigation kind of skills to them. They really find out things that people are trying to hide. Also, they are very perceptive on things. So there are just things that because you don't have any facts to it. But you know that this person is lying to you. You know that this person is like this or like that. That is Scorpio. It doesn't make sense, but it's quite different with Pisces, wherein they become emotional and just go all over the place. When it comes to Scorpio, there is some form of truth and basis to their own actions most of the time. And negatively, of course, this can be a form of manipulation as well. So with this scenario, this can be a time wherein there is some form of clarity and truth that is going to be revealed to you. It is something that you cannot escape anymore. When Neptune is right there is always an element of confusion. There is always an element of being disillusioned by things. It could be triggered by someone else, but most of the time it's also triggered by you. So this is like an element of self-sabotaging the things that you want to happen in your life, basically. But remember that Neptune is in retrograde. So when Neptune is in retrograde, yes, you will enter that time of confusion, but ultimately the goal is to make you see things. It will give you a lens to see through the rose tinted glasses. So the truth cannot be escaped away anymore. This will allow us to see the truth, whether we like it or not, no matter how much we struggle, no matter what it takes, and no matter how much it may hurt us, the truth is going to be revealed. And that is the biggest message that we have to know for the month of October. There is some form of reality to this. And ultimately, that is what Neptune retrograde is all about, especially because Neptune is now going to be entering its direct phase, which will happen on November. So, the effects of Neptune right now is really not about confusion. We are now being led to see the reality of things little by little, those kinds of stuff. So, this Mercury in Scorpio is also going to be followed by Venus. And this has an element of love to this. And this is really very interesting because this is promoting some form of honesty needed to happen. Honesty in terms of communications and honesty with what we really think about someone, what we really think about this relationship or that relationship. So there is a mix form of reevaluating things, of what we really want, what we really feel, those kinds of things. At the same time, it's like we are being forced to face it and deal with it, which is, I feel that is a really good thing because most of the time, some people tends to feel things, experience things, but they always have a way to escape reality. But this time, the energies are not allowing that. It's asking us to face it through honest communications. And this is where Mars in Libra comes into place as it makes an opposition to Chiron. Now, I'm going to be talking about Venus in Scorpio a little later because Venus in Scorpio has an interesting alignment as well because it already happened last year within the month of October as well. So, yeah, it's very interesting, I would say. Now, where am I? Yeah, it's going to make an opposition to Chiron, the Mars in Libra, and this is the wounded healer. Now, this has a strong message and energy of healing and correcting something in terms of relationships to create balance and harmony into things. Now, this is very positive. Positive, but tricky at the same time because each and every time that something is going to be transpiring in terms of astrology and the alignments, there's an energy right there wherein, yes, you will reach some form of harmony to it. But before that, the challenge comes first, You need to take a step up first. Basically, that is like the biggest message. Someone needs to do something first. It takes two to tango. Remember that. So, and that is what Libra is all about. Now, I'm not sure if you know about this, but Mars in Libra is usually the trigger point for wars. It's always a trigger point for revolutions of some kind. So, try to see the biggest wars that has occurred um throughout history. You will always find that Mars is in Libra. I'm not sure if I'm correct, but I'm pretty sure that during Hitler's time, Mars was also in Libra. So, yeah, there is an element right there of creating wars or confronting people. So, there are issues of confrontation that can be unavoidable, but it always bears some form of results. Mars in Libra does not take action by itself. It only triggers when something is being threatened. Like, for example, you are in a relationship wherein someone is cheating behind your back and maybe you have allowed that. But right now, you're not capable to tolerate it. Probably you cannot tolerate that kind of action any longer. So this is where, the Mars and Libra is all about. It's usually passive, but when it comes to achieve something, it always is the first one to take action. Because truth be told, even though Libra is an air sign, it's like among all air signs, it's like the middle ground of things. Libra is a sign that is also very emotional, and it's also filled with a lot of ideas. That is why Libra is the scales. It's able to see the pros and cons in the situation. Yet it's also ruled by Venus, the planet of love and relationships. Is very much capable to see the emotional part of things. So there is a balance of the mind and the heart when it comes to that. And with Mars involved here, we can be assured that, the relationship factor, the balancing factor, the wanting to achieve something factor is going to be very much prominent. So always has a connection with bloodshed and fighting, but it's always for a reason. So it always has a purpose to it. It's to achieve something. It's to get an end result of something to a point wherein if it has to sacrifice something, Mars and Libra is going to take action to it, regardless of what the consequence is. If they believe that what they're doing is justified, what they're doing is right, or what scenario is happening cannot be tolerated anymore, regardless of what might happen later on. They're not going to be dwelling about that. This is probably the only time wherein you will see you will see Libra initiating something. That is when, they feel that the scales are not balanced anymore. And triggered by Mars, it's like, there is really something I cannot tolerate anymore. Also, to protect someone at times, they take action. Also, Mars and Libra can create an influence to litigation, uh, like lawsuit, those kinds of stuff can be coming into the forefront of things. So that is the influence of this energy. I really like this energy though, because it's like telling us that someone is going to be taking action to balance the scale. Because I feel that the situation that most people have is that they are in a relationship or situation wherein things are already unbalanced. And with Mars right there, it's like it's going to take action to receive some form of balance to things. So, yeah. And that is going to be the influence right there. It's like Mars has already did all the homework done during his stay on Virgo. And once it enters on Libra, it's going to take action, especially at the time wherein Mars goes visible in the sky. And that is the time wherein, you will see a lot of shifts in terms of your relationship. So I'm pretty sure that Mars will be visible around the end of October. So yeah, you will feel it a lot, the good stuff and changes once it probably at the end of October onwards to November. But that is for a different video, I would say. So on the second half of October, we have the full moon in the sign of Aries. Now, this is crazy because this full moon is going to make a conjunction with Aries, okay? So Aries and Aries. Aries is it's not a fixed star, but it is an asteroid. It's a dwarf planet, but it's nearer to us than Pluto itself. So if we are feeling Pluto energy, what more Aries? And it's going to be making a conjunction with the moon. Yeah, it's going to be with the moon. Full moon in Aries. So it's going to be at the 20 degrees as well. So Remember, I did mention this earlier. 20 to 22 degrees are the hot spot. So with this full moon in Aries, it's a new cycle. This is like we get to see something, a culmination of some kind. There is some form of visible results. Visible because whenever there is a full moon, we really see them out there in the sky, you know? They're not hiding, they are showing there in front of you. So, an Aries is like the puppeteer, you know? It triggers people to act. Also, I don't see Aries as a negative alignment in the sky because I believe that when Aries acts, she always has a reason to it. Maybe because someone was neglected or there were a lot of hurts, those kinds of things. Yes, sometimes it triggers some form of fighting, some form of confrontation, some form of difficulty of some kind. But whenever Aries acts, it's always has a form of reason to it. It's like Mars and Libra, I would say. She has a reason for fighting. She has a reason. Okay. Also, Aries is the woman, you know, this is the warrior goddess we are talking about. And Aries is like the man. So I would say that this could be, you know, something about relationship between a man and a woman can be very much prominent. Now, this full moon is going to create that T-square alignment to Pluto at 20 degrees as well. So talk about intense energy. Okay. So something is really going to be manifested to us. Something is going to be revealed. Some secrets can be coming up in the surface of things. And I would say that instead of focusing on the negative, let us focus on the phoenix, right? When the phoenix dies and becomes ashes, it also becomes like, you know, it also rises up again anew. It has that form of new energy to it. So I feel that instead of focusing on the negative things, which I'm not going to deny, it can manifest that way as well. It's going to be dependent on what's really happening for you in your own chart, or how is this going to be transpiring in your own horoscope. But it has a positive thing to it because squares in general has a thin line with achievement and success slash sacrifices. So it's either that you're going to be having some form of struggle in your relationships or whatever area you are dealing with at this time, or this could be a scenario wherein something can really be reborn, renewed with a sense um of a new beginning of some kind. It could be a new partnership, those kinds of things. I really feel that partnership and our individuality is going to be very important because we are dealing with Aries here. Aries rules the first house, and Libra rules the seventh house. Vice versa, if your Aries is at the seventh house and your Libra is at the first house, like me, that's going to be affecting, you know, different areas of our life. And ultimately, it's going to be about partnerships as well. So, yeah, Aries and Libra, there's going to be some form of changes right there in terms of relationships, partnerships that we have. Going to be different for each and every one of us. It could be with a specific partner involved or family member, or, you know, I really feel that this could create something. Some form of development event can transpire for you for those areas. And it can create positive alignments to create some form of a peace kind of thing, you know. There is a mediator on certain things, creating peace to connect to people. Because what is the full moon all about? The full moon is all about an opposition between the sun and the moon. So And the apex of the T square is going to be Pluto with K2. So again, K2 is like the karmic kind of influence right there. So there could be karmic relationships that is going to be formed or fixed or have a form of healing to it or some form of achievement going to be transpiring, and it's going to be very very powerful for them. It's going to really depend. So yeah, that full moon is going to trigger so many things, and the effect can really change your life, especially if you have those degrees in your chart. And if you have planets in those degrees, then you are going to be very impacted. Something is going to be happening in your Aries, Libra, and Pluto area. Especially if you have a lot of cardinal signs, then you are like guaranteed that something is going to change for you as a whole. It could be a new chapter of things manifesting for you. Also, as the end of October occurs, we enter the Scorpio season, and there's going to be strong focusing energy to Venus and Mercury in Scorpio. And this is where the healing is going to be happening, and we're really going to be receiving the healing energy to this. When Venus and Mercury is involved, this is like the energy of love that is not just all about love itself. This is about, very passionate and intimate love that has a form of attraction to it. It is very sexual, but it's all, yeah, I kind of feel that it has a very spiritual type of love going to be happening right there. And let's keep in mind that these alignments are going to be visible. It's going to be very much different during the time we're in. It was in Virgo. During the Virgo season, we do have the connection of the Venus, Mercury, and Mars, but they're all invisible. So there is going to be a difference when you are having experiences in love and planets are invisible. They can be active for you. There could be some form of love affair happening right there. But because of the combustion, you know that there is a catch. But this time, when they are all visible and Mars is in Libra going to be visible, something is really happening. Something is really manifesting. And as a whole, this is like all about real love and true love. And there's going to be balance and union to it. So the focus of love and real love, spiritual love, is really coming into the surface of things. And this is all about making things happen. With the full moon in the sign of Libra, in Aries right there, this is about not thinking much anymore. You have done all the work to think and reflect. You have done your homework to investigate what you want. And this time, I want to act. I want to start it. I want to start the engine and go move forward. And this is exactly what the energy is all about. So, I really cannot wait to tell you guys about the predictions of the October forecast and how this is going to be manifesting for each and every signs out there. But overall, I guess the biggest message I would tell you guys for the month of October is that honesty is a big thing. Honesty in communications with what you really feel is going to be very, very important for each and every one of us. So I'm really excited. How is this going to be manifesting for you? So without any further ado, I'll see you guys again next month to see how the alignment energy is going to be in store for you. But before I forget, we do have the Venus in Scorpio. Last year it already happened. Venus in Scorpio. It was also in the Libra in Scorpio axis. just like this one. And now we are again entering that Venus return cycle in the sign of Scorpio. It's also exactly happening at this time. So there could be something that you are going to either continue from last year, or it could be that there is some form of culmination from last year to this year. And this is like you're entering that right timeline um, in terms of your relationships or whatever area of life you are going to create. I would say that there was something in last year that you had the cold feet on because of the retrograde. It feels like you're entering that cycle, a new cycle in terms of your relationships. But for some reason, you were not able to continue to do it. You're not able to move forward with it. You're not able to really manifest it because maybe someone has backed off. It could be a marriage, a marriage that you wanted to enter, but for some reason you started to doubt yourself. You started to doubt the relationship and you had a cold feet. And this is the time wherein you're entering that time frame again. And this time you will be able to see and know what the future holds for you from last year. So I really feel that there is a correlation from last year October to this year October. So let me know how is this going to be manifesting for you, because I've been telling this all year long that October of last year has a big connection to what is going to be transpiring for us from here forward. And one of the key elements that is this October to November of 2019. So, without any further ado, thank you guys for watching and being with me here on this video. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Please like, share, and comment below what you think and how you are able to connect or feel the energy of this Scorpio season. So and if you'd like a more personal reading with me, please go to my website inthestarsbychrissy.com, and I'll see you guys again on my next video.